Well, Wake Forest is going to test Mississippi State from the first snap. Tempo, ball control, and handling the rust will decide this bowl game.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, welcome in. This is the Locked On Mississippi State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Jaron, Spor, nearly a decade in journalism and a national college football writer with Athlon Sports, joined by my co-host, Landon McBride, a longtime journalist and college sports fanatic. This is your daily home for all things Mississippi State. Today, we're breaking down Wake Forest head coach Jake Dickert and what his team brings to the matchup against Mississippi State. Then we'll review the Bulldogs non-conference basketball slate before previewing the start of SEC play. Starts this weekend. And then we'll wrap things up with the latest recruiting update, both transfer portal and just some recruiting nuggets. But to our everydayers, stick around at the end. We'll talk about how we can make your experience even better. Also, we're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter with daily videos, so make sure to like and subscribe over there as well. Also, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, Landon, let's dive into what Coach Dickert had to say in his press conference. He did his on Christmas Eve. It was a very short one, but he only had like a little blurb about Mississippi State. Other than that, it was talking about his practice, his motivation to win a bowl game, and things like that. But Mississippi State, he said their first quarter split is phenomenal. They play super fast. They're probably going to want to get us on our heels. Who can manage the phase of that phase of the game, but also who can sustain it? We haven't played a football game in over 5 weeks. We're trying to work out the rust. We're trying to go good on good. We're trying to keep the tempo of the game alive. Who can navigate that quickly over the course of the game, and who can take care of the ball? In these bowl games, you've got to be able to handle the ball. It might rain, so we'll see where that ends up. If you can do those couple of things and then finish in the fourth quarter, then we'll stick to our plan to win. So flat out, he's already talking about the concern, at least, of the up-tempo, especially when you haven't played football in over a month.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Just that game, because there's a difference. No matter how much you practice, there's a difference in practice and game shape, and having your defense off the field for about a month and then having to come in and play up-tempo and play what he said called the Mississippi State's offense, either the fastest or second offense in the country analytically. That's a big task to pretty much come off the street and do that. And I mean, you also factor in the fact that on top of the fast tempo, there's so many fast players with Evans, right, Thompson on the outside, and having Kamario Taylor start. I mean, he's one of the fastest quarterbacks in the country. So you throw him in there, and not only are you dealing with a lot of speed in terms of how quickly they run plays, you're dealing with a ton of speed in the players on the field.
And it's almost when you haven't played football, period, and then you go, your first game back is, hey, you get to play a team that goes as fast as Mississippi State does. It is a shell shock to your system just from not going against that. And I am a little surprised, but I'm glad. If I was a Wake Forest fan, I'd be glad to hear that they're doing a lot of good on good. That should be something that you love to hear, because I don't feel like a lot of coaches do that anymore. In bowl week, mainly. I mean, they do some good on good work, obviously, during the offseason and stuff like that. But I'm talking about bowl season. They don't do a ton of good on good. And so I would be happy to see that. Honestly, I was listening to a podcast. It was the Triple Option podcast, which is Urban Meyer's podcast, and he had Bob Stoops on there. And Bob was talking about how before that national championship win over Florida State in 2000, he was worried that they hadn't played in so long that they were going to be kind of rusty. So they did like full-on 45-minute scrimmage of bringing them to the ground, tackling all this stuff, and he felt that's what gave them the mental edge in that game. And Urban quickly says, like, yeah, that you can't do that anymore. And it's true. Like, first off, you're not allowed to do that anymore by some of the rules, but also because, a lot of coaches are worried about players getting hurt and stuff like that. And so they just don't do that stuff anymore. But it's hard to prepare for this kind of style of offense that Mississippi State possesses.
Yeah, it is, especially in this time. It's somehow easier and more challenging when you have this kind of time, because it gives you a little more time to kind of come up with those bespoke formations that you want to run defensively, which is great, but your conditioning isn't the same as it would be in the middle of the season, to where even though you're probably less banged up, conditioning's not right quite where it was, week 4 or 5. So third quarter could be kind of where you maybe see things start to change a little bit. Maybe the athleticism and just the speed just starts to wear on them a little bit. I am curious if Dickert was serious with him saying they've worked on 15 to 20 trick plays.
I bet he has.
And mentioned
not going to use them, but
I don't know how many was making in the game, because that's what's fun about Bulls is when coaches just start trying stuff.
Yeah.
And
right.
if he has 20 trick plays in his book and he rolls out 10 of them, that's going to be fun to watch, even though it's probably going to be annoying because probably about 6 of them are going to work.
Yeah. Another thing, he can ease his worry about any bad weather. That's what I've been trying to search over here to see what the weather was going to be like in Charlotte. It's actually going to be really nice. It's 50 degrees. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. It'll be 50. It'll be 50 all the way through 11 o'clock. So well after the game ends. Yeah. 2 mile per hour wind. So no wind, and only a 10% chance of rain. Yeah, and only a 10% chance of rain. So he doesn't have to worry about the weather, because originally he said there was some rain chances, but when you look at it that far in advance, it's hard to predict the weather. And it looks like the rain that he was probably referring to has kind of delayed a little bit. It looked like it was going to come in this weekend after like Saturday or Sunday or something like that. So that is at least a good thing, because that's one thing that does suck about these bowl games is you have this whole month to prepare, or, a couple weeks or however long it is, depending on the game. And you want to see these guys that just didn't get a lot of experience during the season. You want to see them perform for next year, and then you get a rain game, or you get a snow game, or you get a very cold weather game, and you have to change your approach on how you do things, and you don't really get to see these guys at their best. It's just kind of a bummer. So for them to get a good weather game, that's at least a positive.
Yeah, it is a positive. And while from a prospect of actually getting to see players play their best, I do love a snow game. It is the one game
it's fun to see.
Yeah, it's not fun to be at.
No, and it's not fun to play in.
No, but that is the one thing that'll get me to turn on a random terrible game, is if I find out it's happening in the snow. I'm turning that on to see what happens. But no, the weather looks good. His Dickert's quote on the defense was, kind of coach speak, which said they're big, they're long, exactly what you think of as an SEC team. They're going to get off the bus and be like, oh, here we go. So, I mean, he said the Mississippi State runs a bunch of defensive fronts. I don't know that that's true. I feel like they pretty much run the same one almost every down. Obviously, the players rotate, but it was pretty much strictly a 3-man front. So I'm not really sure what he's referring to there. I mean, I'm sure there's some way it's different, and that's why he's a coach and I'm not. But it does seem pretty straightforward. It'll be interesting to see how much they change up the defense, though, going into this one. I think that's one of the things I'm kind of interested if we have a very vanilla defense or if there's a few new looks.
And who calls it? We've talked about that before. Levy didn't really say who was going to call it. He gave a bunch of options of who might call it, but never actually said who will call it. So that will be interesting to see. And like you said, even though they're going to probably schematically run the same defense that they ran this season, it's a play caller. He's going to have different tendencies. He's going to have different feel for the game. So just seeing the different things that they throw out in this one, and with all the players they have, that transferred out, like just seeing them navigate through a lot of stuff. But it's a great challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun to kind of figure out what they can do. But all right, coming up next, we got to talk about the men's basketball team. They are actually red hot to end the non-conference play as they head into SEC conference play. We'll talk about that and just what we expect, because they have a big game this weekend against Texas. But we'll talk about all that coming up next. Well, Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night before the games tip off. FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame and limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boost bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listener today, and thank you for making Locked On the number one sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club, access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Mississippi State, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. Landon and I are in there, so we'd love to get your feedback on that. Go to the link that is in the show notes, and that's where you can learn more information about the Everydayer Club. All right, so let's jump into the basketball team because, it's not been a good season.
No.
Like, it's not, and there's no secret behind that. But and I'm talking about the men. The women have been outstanding.
Yeah.
But the men have really struggled this year. They're 8-5 out of non-conference play, and that's not at all where you want to be heading into the SEC. However, you suffered 1, 2, 3 of those losses in your first 5 games, and then you've kind of been on a roll lately. They've won 4 straight. They've won 6 out of their last 8. So they're starting to play good basketball. That includes a 94-56 win on Monday over Alabama State. Heading into the conference play, Josh Hubbard obviously leads the team, 21.3 points per game. Jaden Epps, 15.9 points per game, has been a really, really solid number 2 option.
Yes.
Alabama State actually ended up being his worst game he's had recently. He didn't play a lot of minutes, but didn't shoot well. Only had 6 points. But he was on a tear before that game.
Yeah, he was.
Then the question is, who's going to be the third guy? Jabari McGee is third leading scorer at 9.8. But he's kind of up and down. He had that 29-point game against Utah, which was massive. Then he scored 2 against Long Island, 6 against Memphis. He did have 10 against Alabama State. So he's kind of been up and down. And that's been the question mark for us watching them in non-conference play. Who's going to be that third guy?
Yeah, it's good to see them start to seem to get things figured out, though. I mean, and you have Quincy Ballard, who is just rock solid. He's given you about 10 and 10 a game. His last game, 8 points and 15 rebounds and 2 blocks. That's what you want out of a center. It's kind of what I expected when they brought him in. He's really anchored the middle of the team, but that third scorer, it's just, you want someone to step up and kind of claim it instead of it being this almost rotating thing. And it's not that it's rotating between 2 guys who one of them's having a hot night. It's who's going to score 10 points, who's the third guy in double digits is almost what it's become. And it's frustrating, but at least the team's showing some life. And like you mentioned, was it 6 of their last 8? One of those was an overtime loss. The other one was a 3-point loss that Hubbard played like 5 minutes in, if that. So, he very easily could have won both those games and be on an 8-game win streak going into conference play. So while it hasn't been what you wanted, I feel like we've been a little bit too pessimistic about it, even though there's definitely reason to be.
It's just one of those things that because the SEC is so tough, you have to stack wins in non-conference play if you want to make the NCAA tournament. Now, with that being said, we've said this many times, it's not what it was last year, the SEC. It's still very good, but it's not dominant like it was last year. And so that changes things as well. The issue that I have is, I am fine if that third scorer just kind of rotates. Sometimes it's Jabari McGee that will pop off for, it doesn't even have to be 29, be 15 or 17. Sometimes it's, Quincy that pops off. I'm fine if that's the case. The issue is sometimes that third leading scorer is dropping 8 or dropping 6. And it's that's not stepping up. And that's where the concern is. That's why you would rather have a consistent guy so you can count on hey, this game, our third leading scorer is going to get us this amount of points, whatever it is. In this past game, they had several guys kind of step up. Obviously, Epps didn't play great, but King Grace had 14 points. Shamori McGee had 10 points. Aker had 11 points. Like, they had some guys that stepped up. And in the game against Memphis before that, that was a game that, Hubbard and Jaden Epps had really good games. But this is the game I'm kind of referencing is Sean Jones only had 9, and that's your third leading scorer. Aker had 8, and he's your third leading scorer. Or fourth leading scorer. And Jabari McGee had 6 that game. Like that's not going to cut it. Your third leading scorer needs to have 13 or 14. But you beat Memphis. You can't be too upset about it. And then in the game before that was the Long Island game, 34 from Hubbard, 20 from Epps. Makura had 12. He's your third leading scorer, and he had a good game. And that's a game that you would take from your third leading scorer when your two main guys have 30 and 24. So as long as they can just get a consistent third scorer that can get you double figures and not just 10 points. I'm talking about 12, 14, 16 points, depending on what Hubbard. And obviously, if Hubbard and Epps go for 30 and 24, you don't need 16, 18. You can get 12. But if they have 17 and 19, you need a guy to get 15. You just need that consistent, whoever it is. And it doesn't have to be the same person. Again, it can be a rotating thing. Just someone.
Right. And I feel like we're in this position where the team is solid, but you're sitting here almost needing 25 plus a game from Hubbard to win games. That's what you feel going into it as a fan. If Hubbard isn't approaching 30 points, we're probably not winning this game. And I mean, he's capable of doing it. So that's the good news. The bad news is there's going to be days where he doesn't or can't because you're playing a great team that's very good defensively and shuts him down. And that's when the worry about who that second and third scorer is. I mean, we know Epps can do it, but can he do it when he has to be the main guy because of a defensive rotation as opposed to getting it because, he's just playing off Hubbard. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how this team continues to develop. I will say the last month has been pretty encouraging that they're starting to figure it out. Some fight in this team. Maybe things will keep clicking, but I don't know. The way the third scorer is rotating, and it's always, he had 11. This person had 12 is what's concerning.
Yeah, and coming up their next game, they play Texas on Saturday. Texas is 9-4 under Sean Miller in his first year. Texas does have 4 guys that average double figures. They have Matas, who averages 15.8. He's the 7-foot center. Dalen Swain averages 15. Jordan Pope averages 13.2. And then Tremont Mark averages 11.5. And 2 of those guys are seniors. One's a junior, and then Matas is the sophomore. So they're a veteran-led team. They don't shoot the 3-ball well. They shoot at 34%. They shoot pretty good from the field, actually, about 50%, which is 31st in the country. They average 88 points a game. That's 37th in the country. So they do a really good job there. Defensively, they're really good. They allow 71 points a game. That's 100, or they're not, I wouldn't say really good. I would say they're just solid. 71.3 points per game is what they allow. They do hold teams to 41% from the field, but they allow teams to shoot 35% from 3. So they're not great at defense, but they're not bad either. And Sean Miller's in his first year. I think he's going to do a great job there. But that's a good test for them to kind of, see if their run that they're on is because they've played some lesser competition or if they're actually getting hot.
Yeah, I mean, Texas is a good team, but they're not juggernaut like you mentioned. They're 9-4. They're not lighting people up, but they're talented. So it'll be good to see just kind of how they match up, and if, like you said, if this is the beginning of something or if the last month has kind of been fool's gold.
Well, and they got a chance to build some things because in their first 9 SEC games, 7 of them are against non-ranked opponents. So that's your chance to kind of, so your first half of your SEC games, you're playing 7 non-ranked opponents. That's your time to kind of get hot.
Yeah.
After that, you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked opponents. So it picks up a little more in the second half of your schedule. So you need to build some ground and some momentum right there. But all right, coming up next, we're going to talk about some recruiting. There was a big women's basketball commitment, but there was also some transfer portal news that we have to dive into as well. We'll get to all that coming up next.
There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, that part used to be frustrating with long queues, logins, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to fans. The easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. And I opened the Game Time app and looked at some of those upcoming bowl games. And I was surprised how fast it was and easy to find those great seats. And the app is so easy to use. You can go from browsing to buying those tickets in just minutes. And my favorite part is being able to see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what your view is going to be when you get there. And knowing all of those prices, or they include the fees up front, it makes the whole process so much easier and less stressful. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
All right, well, thanks for being Locked On Mississippi State, your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, where should we start? Do we start with the women's basketball commit, or we talk about?
Yeah, let's go with that one. Let's go women's basketball commit first.
So we've talked about how crazy the college is right now. You got people that play professionally, not necessarily in the NBA, but G League overseas, that are now being qualified to play in college, and that's it's within the rules, so you can't get mad at the teams. I saw Tom Izzo get mad at Baylor it was Baylor that got the kid that was in the Karl Anthony Towns trade. I said Kansas, I think, when we talked about it. It was Baylor. But he got mad at Baylor. It's not Baylor's fault.
No.
Baylor's just playing by the rules. It's the NCAA's fault for allowing it. But Mississippi State, they benefited from it. They got Melissa, I believe it's Guillet is how you'll pronounce her last name, but she's from France.
It's
so
France.
I'm
probably Guillet.
It could be Guillet.
I don't think you pronounce the T's typically in France, but don't quote me.
It's possible. It's possible. The funny thing is they put a pronouncer for the city she's from, but not for her name. No. But Sam Purcell was asked about it. He said adding Melissa this late in the year is an awesome opportunity to play the game at the highest level, and her international experience will be huge for us as she joins the program and helps us chase championships. She's a 6'1" guard, played the last 2 years in France, and she averaged through 13 games. She appeared in all 13 games. She averaged 7 points, 2.6 rebounds, and 17.7 minutes of action. Her best game, she scored 15 points on 50% for the field and 4 of 5 from 3-point range. So, 3 of 5 from 3-point range. This says 4 of 5, but there's no way if she scored 15, it should be 3 of 5. But anyways, because it didn't show what else she did, so I'm assuming they meant 3 or 5, but it could have been 4 or 5. But anyways, she's another good get for a women's basketball team that's played really good ball.
Yeah, she is, and she's played on France's under 18 FIBA in 2024, the under 16 in 2022, and Team France won the championship in each of those. So, I mean, she has a lot of experience at high-level competition. 6'1" good size for a guard. It'll be interesting to see how much she plays when she gets here, but that is definitely a talented and, I mean, you don't want to call someone a veteran who's that young, but, I mean, she's a veteran of high-level competition. So, that's a big
She's going to have a lot of experience, and I misread the thing. So the 4 of 5 from distance is a different game than the other one. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a really good get for them, just to get that, like you said, that experience from a team that's played really good basketball. Now, the worry is when you add someone like that,
chemistry.
Like, well, not just chemistry with her being thrown in, but you have a good thing going,
right?
Like, what do you do with her? Like I would at least throw her in some, obviously, see if she's playing well. But when you got to play it at such a high level, you don't really want to mess with the rotations as much. But on the flip side, she's really good, and she has a lot of experience.
Yeah, I would say she probably slots in, depending on how she transitions. It might take her a little time and we don't see her much this year, but my guess is she kind of fits in as a backup guard. Probably didn't crack the starting rotation, but is someone off the bench that you can count on. Like I said, I mean, in France, she was playing just shy of 18 minutes a game. So, I mean, you bring her off the bench for maybe 12 minutes a game or something. I mean, it's an interesting addition. I think one that could benefit them, if not this year on the court. I mean, it's definitely going to benefit them in practice too, having someone with that experience to go against.
Yeah, and she played a role in helping France win the 2024 FIBA Under-18 and the 2022 FIBA Under-16 championship. So, again, a lot of experience, a lot of good international experience. I would love to dive in the transfer portal, but we're almost out of time. We're actually doing a whole segment on the transfer portal tomorrow, so we'll just throw that into that segment. We got a lot to talk about. We're also going to talk about our expectations for the bowl game. So we're going to do all that tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in today to Locked On Mississippi State. Make sure you subscribe and follow our podcast so you get all the latest episodes. Remember, we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check that out. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Mississippi State ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to the custom link that is in our show notes. You can check it out and join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football. For Locked On Mississippi State, I'm Jaron. That's Landon. Until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.